You're listening to The Edge with Mark Thompson.
Hi, how are you? I want to thank you for supporting Mark Thompson here on The Edge Radio. Fantastic show with all the jokes and J. Elvis, and all the commentary and the politics and the bullshit. You can listen on iTunes or Stitcher. The hell is that, Overcast? Or you can just go to the damn website, edge-show.com. Stupid. Why is that dash?
edge-show.com.
Glad you could be here. A really good show. Michael Shure comes through and talks about the scandal that's increasingly a part of opposition politics. I'm talking about blackface photos, revelations of sexual misconduct, all of these things that are now beginning to affect legislators and high-profile figures of all sorts. We'll talk about that. We'll also touch on Elizabeth Warren. Les Moonves gets a mention. Always love when Michael comes through. And then Tom Arnold is here. Tom Arnold is one of my favorite personalities. I just think he's a brilliant television personality. He's a brilliant talk show guest. As a comedian, he is so funny. He's done such great stuff that I've enjoyed. We'll get into that when we're talking to him. But his stories, I mean, just going through his life, even if you don't touch any of that, are just unlike anything I've ever heard from anyone. I mean, he's really come from this place of such humble roots to the heights of show business. And I do ask him about going into a jewelry store in Beverly Hills with $1 million in cash and buying jewelry for Roseanne with that money. I asked him if that was a legit story that was true. Finally, Mark Burnett. He's been on the hunt for Mark Burnett, who has access to Donald Trump apprentice tapes damning to Trump, but those tapes are locked away, and Tom is essentially calling on Mark Burnett to release those tapes. We get into that as well. A warning for a language, of course. The language is all over the place, so if you're listening with kids in the car or wherever you are, do be warned about that. I'll mention again all the ways you support us. Subscribe to the show. That's a great way to support us. Share the show if you hear something good or you like something. If you can comment on it on the iTunes website, particularly give us a 5-star review and a couple of lines like, hey, I really love this episode or really enjoyed it. It does help us stay alive in this increasingly crowded world of podcasts. If you want to financially support us, we do operate in the red, but it is our pleasure to do so. Still, people do send us things through PayPal, $5, $10, $20 more, whatever you send. You can see our virtual tip jar there. And if you're going to shop through Amazon, if you do it through our website, we get a little piece of whatever you spend on Amazon. We don't know what you spend. It's the same Amazon to you, but they spin off a little piece of whatever you spend on Amazon because you go through our site, edge-show.com. Those are the preliminaries. Let's get started.
This is The Edge.
The advantage, it means.
Hey, look, I just spit on me for no reason.
That's horrible.
Is there some comfort in uncertainty, do you think?
You're a degenerate.
Because Australian Shepherds need action.
Wow. Yeah.
This is The Edge.
That's a self-loathing term that I use.
Oh, got it.
Look who's here. He's forgotten more about politics than most of us will ever know. He's Michael Shure.
Oh, great to be here. Thank you. I think they couldn't believe it was me is what happened. I think they saw it and it was like, wow. It's him.
Well, Michael Shure.
By the way, look who's here is always a great turn of phrase on radio.
Yeah, I guess nothing's literal.
That's
People used
right.
to. I had a producer. I said at the end of my show, I used to say, "See you next time."
Right.
He said, "Don't say see you next time because you're not
going
to
to see them."
It's
And that's
radio.
so annoying.
It's just
mine was done friendlier.
It's not a literal thing.
No.
Michael Shure, there is a lot going on. I want to talk to you about something that is not only going on now, but I suspect is going to become a bigger part of politics and of the zeitgeist of running for office. And that's what's going on in Virginia.
Yeah.
Finding the blackface photos in yearbooks, uncovering scandal associated with sexual misconduct. There is more going on right now associated with that than I can recall in the last 20 years.
Yeah, it's strange that people are looking back now because there is social media and there's a lot of opposition research. There certainly wasn't enough in Virginia. But I think, listen, there are two different... I find what Ralph Northam did repugnant. I find what Mark Herring, the AG of Virginia, did far less repugnant.
Now, let's make the distinction.
Ralph Northam was a medical school student who on his yearbook page put a guy in blackface, a photograph of a guy in blackface standing next to someone under a Ku Klux Klan outfit and hood. And while neither is great, and I think we have a different sensitivity to it now, the Attorney General Mark Herring of Virginia, also a Democrat, came out days later and said, hey, listen, I did blackface too, and I did it. We were imitating some rappers from a show. We were dressing as them. I think it was Curtis Blow. While not great, I don't think that's necessarily even close to being in the same category as what Northam did. And Northam was Mark Herring was 19. It makes a bit of a difference. Northam was graduating from medical school, and he said it wasn't him in the picture, which means to me that he decided that it was still okay to put on his yearbook page.
Yeah, surely he saw the picture on his yearbook page.
Right, exactly, and he didn't object to it. And even if it was placed there later, he's never objected to it publicly since, and that's the kind of thing that would cause a flag. And there are people that would disagree with me about Mark Herring, that his is bad too, and I would hear that argument and have a hard time fighting against it. But I do think that there's something about imitating and something about, if it is benign in any way, and I don't even know if it was. I don't know if he was making, light of it or what. But what Ralph Northam did, now that he's governor of Virginia, is to me in a different category. And then you have Justin Fairfax, the lieutenant governor in the middle, who was accused in great detail of 2 different sexual assaults. And I can't see, even as people are listening to this, him remaining in office there. And if that's the case, I see Northam appointing someone who's squeaky clean, likely African-American, and that person then becoming governor.
There was an op-ed piece written by Bret Stephens in the New York Times, and he's not a Democrat particularly.
No, he's not, yeah.
So a little bit of a different take than yours, but in essence coming down on, at least on Northam's case, as a situation in which he shouldn't resign. He felt it's so long ago, and it was a different time. It's 35 years ago.
I hear that article. It was a different time. I was at school in Virginia in 1984 when that happened. I was a freshman at the University of Virginia, and I would never have done that. If I had seen it, I would have recoiled upon seeing it, and I was new to the South. I'd grown up in New York, so maybe it was, it was certainly not culturally what I would do.
Nor I, but the point he makes, and I think it's provocative, which is why I'm bringing it up here, is in that time, in that 35 years, nothing he's done publicly in any remarks, and also in terms of legislation and defending civil rights and this sort of thing, would reflect the kind of prejudice associated with, and it's heinous for what it represents in our history, right? Nothing in what he's done or in that 35 years would reflect that same vision.
No, what Bret Stephens is saying is the right argument to make if you think that Northam should remain in office, that it was a long time ago, that that's true. People change. Robert Byrd was in the Ku Klux Klan and became majority leader. George Wallace, it was tougher to change George Wallace's stripes. The other people were far more passive about their Ralph Northam included, worse than Ralph Northam, Robert Byrd. Still, there was a passivity about it in their public life, and that didn't transform. Wallace was the face of American racism for a very long time, so I don't put him in that same category, though he did reform, and I don't know if he reformed because he thought he was going to die and wanted to absolve himself in front of his Lord and something like that. I don't know.
By the way, just on that, because now I'm learning something. I'd always thought that George Wallace made the transformation long enough before his death that he was actually able to campaign for civil rights in some ways. Is that not true?
Yeah, but it is true that it was long enough before his death, but it was too far after his birth.
I see.
and it
even after he was politically relevant.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the point. Okay. And he ran as a segregationist, and
right. No.
For president of the United States, you can't undo that. That's something you can't undo. You can live a life like Ralph Northam, and you can portray the politics that Ralph Northam has, and still have taken or had that picture on your yearbook page. It's still questionable. It's still emblematic of a weird time in the South, a transitional time in the South, but it was a little after that transition where these things were acceptable. And again, going to Herring, I think dressing up at Halloween or to imitate rappers in a video and doing that is far different.
100% agree.
Yeah.
In this op-ed piece, he points to Jesse Jackson and the reference to Hymietown. We seem to look past that.
We didn't. He was rejected because of it.
Well,
he didn't win the nomination. It hurt him in a huge way, and I think I don't think we look past it.
All right. I mean, Jesse Jackson became to me anyway, a cartoonish example of jacking up white corporate America for what were insincere reasons. I mean, he was using his role as a civil rights leader. And honestly, it's a role that he kind of, I think, surrendered to others who are more relevant in the modern age.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he was using that calling card to extort money from major corporations.
I disagree, but I don't disagree to the point where I'm going to fight you about it. I think that Jesse Jackson, as the first serious national candidate in 1988, when he was running for president and people started to look, brought attention, had to highlight decades in his life and the lives of other black Americans at the time, the decades of feeling resentment towards white America. And to see that they could be a force on the national stage caused white America, caused Mike Dukakis, caused others to wake up and listen to what he had to say.
That was the Jesse Jackson who ran for president.
That's
I'm talking about the post-running for president period.
Oh, well, I mean, yes.
Although
he had the Rainbow Push Coalition, and there was, whether it extorted money, I don't know, but he raised a lot of money and created a lot of programs in Chicago. But he also became a little bit of a parody of himself in a way because of how everybody turned to Jesse Jackson all the time on every issue, or Al Sharpton, and then Al Sharpton really was, had to reinvent himself later, but he had a period where he was in the civil rights wilderness. Jesse Jackson never was there.
Yeah, I'll move on, but it does seem to me that Jesse Jackson was concerned with enriching himself and his family for a long period of time, and that might have superseded whatever concerns he had about civil rights.
I see what you're saying there, and that's probably true. I don't know that it superseded it. I think that it was hand in hand. I think he cared about both, but he found that he could do both.
Let me ask you about Elizabeth Warren, because as we speak, there are all these, and I'm really speaking about the fact that the media, locks on to the easy-to-understand stories. That's why the story we just talked about is so much in the zeitgeist, I think, on one level. Everybody gets it. Blackface, you can see it. Mm-hmm. Let's pick a side. Certainly the sexual misconduct allegations are easy to understand. But I want to talk about Elizabeth Warren because they're still harping on, and she has had to apologize for claiming a Native American heritage.
Yeah.
It strikes me at some point they got to let that go.
They're not going to let it go. And listen, you see the White House responding to her and calling, not quoting it, but saying trumped up claims of Native American ancestry as she announced her presidency. That's the press release that Brad Parscale of the Trump campaign releases. It's going to be something that's not, Democrats aren't going to use against her, but at a certain point, a Democrat is going to suggest that it would be tough to send her to a national campaign as the nominee because of that. And then it's going to get ugly within Democratic politics. That's how it will. If Warren proves to be a serious candidate for president, as after Iowa, after New Hampshire, which is where she would, stand to do best in New Hampshire, then you're going to start seeing some fissures in Democratic unity, and it would be over that. It wouldn't be because she would be attacked for it. It would be because someone would suggest exactly what I just said. She didn't use her Native American status to advance herself. I believe 100%, and not because I'm a great fan of Elizabeth Warren's. I like her. I don't know that she would be the best president. I think she would be a better president than we have now. But because I feel like this is what she was told in her house growing up, and this is what she said at different times in her life before there was 23andMe and Ancestry.com, and it was probably a cool thing for her to be able to put down on the Texas Bar Association, but she didn't. She was already where she was when she did. It wasn't going to advance her. She wasn't using it to lie to get somewhere because of it. And maybe on college applications, but I believe her, and I don't think it would matter in Democratic politics. But it's one of those things that I don't think Mark goes away because I think that that her opponent, presumably this president, knows how to push a narrative.
Well, what a great explanation you've just provided. I mean, that's sort of, it was the talk of our family, and I always accepted it as true. As you say, before 23andMe, I mean, it strikes me as you can defuse that political bomb that easily.
Yeah.
But you're right. It'll be hammered. Look, this president, if he's really going to last into re-election,
right,
is flawed in enough ways that you can make political hay of that. And Elizabeth Warren strikes me as someone who can speak in a kind of across-the-fence style and do that.
Yeah.
But you're right. She has to survive her own party tearing her to pieces.
Right, and I don't think they're going to tear her to pieces, but I do think if she's there at the end and there are three of them, there's certainly going to be a campaign spokesperson for one of the three that says, yeah, I don't know if we want to send someone who's got that knock against her.
No, it's electability.
Exactly.
And it's just remarkable to me how the left just eats. They eat their own on the left. They don't do that on the GOP side, or do they? And I don't notice it.
They do it. I mean, when you're running for president, they do it. I mean, Lion Ted, that's the same thing, right? I mean, that's what Donald Trump did to Ted Cruz. And if Donald Trump weren't in that race, somebody would have done it to Chris Christie. Would have tried to do it to Marco Rubio as he did, and said, "There's no there." You're running for president. It's collegial. It's the same party. They come out and support each other later, but in the trenches, they're in the trenches. So you're going to see possibly 8 sitting U.S. senators running for president. They all work together. They all caucus together. They all vote pretty much the same, and they're going to have to find differences with each other and they all want to be president. This is, Amy Klobuchar is not going to care if Cory Booker likes her in 10 months because she ran a campaign that went anti-Cory Booker. It's just not the way it works.
As all of these people come forward from an exploratory committee to actually running, and then they do fundraising, how quickly does that fizzle? Like, when will they start dropping?
Well, I mean, they'll start dropping when they run out of money or they run out of staff, right? So you have to have the reason people announce early is because they want the best staff. They want people who are experienced in the caucus process in Iowa. They want people who know the state of California, which has been moved up now north to south, which are rare. There are people that are strong in parts of the state of California. They want, New Hampshire veterans, people who are tied in with unions in New Hampshire, people who are tied in with local canvassing boards there. So once those people dry up and you can't get them anymore, they also are waiting for, there's always an elephant in the room, whether is Hillary Clinton going to run last time, is George W. Bush going to run when Dan Quayle was the heir apparent to that candidacy at that time, and now it's will Joe Biden run. And even though it has nothing to do with Joe Biden's candidacy, it has to do with his ability to fundraise. So people are not going to write a check to Cory Booker until Joe Biden says what he's going to do. That's the setup here. And as soon as the money starts going to one place, unless there's this weird energy that gets behind a candidate like you saw with Bernie Sanders, you might see it with, let's say Sherrod Brown runs, and there's all of this groundswell, and all of a sudden he's being propped up. Then other people leave for other reasons because you just see poll numbers and that just wane. Then there's someone who's going to stay in the race till the very end for no reason also.
All right, I know I have to let you go. Let me hit you with a couple things that are just off the beaten track then.
Take it.
Away from politics. Did you see that Les Moonves has a new office, high-profile building on Sunset Boulevard? He's got a new production company. All right, this is Les Moonves, former president of CBS.
Right.
He was fired in shame. Contesting, he's owed $120 million from CBS and his lawyers, and here contesting his firing and the conditions of the fire, and that he wants the money. But what's interesting to me about this story is he set up shop in this high-profile building on Sunset Boulevard, and who's paying for it? CBS. CBS, in his contract, is obligated to set him up with office space regardless of the conditions under which he was fired.
It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, even if he was fired with cause.
It's like a U.S. president gets an office paid for, a post-presidential office paid for. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Listen, CBS, if they don't have to spend $120 million, they're happy to pay rent for Les Moonves.
You're right. That's a good deal if you do the arithmetic.
Right.
The other thing that we talk about from time to time on the show that was just making high-profile news is that meat producers, that is to say livestock farmers, they are suing the plant-based meat people, the Beyond Burger, for example, and those who make these plant-based alternatives to meat. They're suing them for calling it meat. They feel meat should refer to live animals only, from live animals.
Right.
In fact,
what about mincemeat?
Jim Dinklage, a rancher, and he's the president of the Independent Cattlemen of Nebraska. He says, the word meat, to me, he says, should mean a product from a live animal. And
well, we all don't, we're all not Jim Dinklage, right? I mean, yeah, I understand that it means meat, what meat means to him, but, and what are they're saying, they're not calling it meat, right? Is Beyond Burger calling it meat? Or
well,
meat?
It may say, I think it just called the Beyond Burger, but they may be calling it plant-based meat. And apparently they have persuaded legislators in more than a dozen states to introduce laws that would make it illegal to use the word meat to describe burgers and sausages that are created from plant-based ingredients
Let's
or grown
guess
in
the
labs.
states.
Right.
Texas, Oklahoma,
Exactly,
Nebraska,
yeah,
Kansas, Arkansas. Yeah.
Right. To me, I thought, well, in a way, it's a good sign because plant-based meat sales are up 22%.
Yeah, they hear footsteps, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're going to the courts.
Or non-footsteps. They hear
They hear
dandelion seedlings.
Michael, anything that we should watch for from you?
You know, I'm on I-24 News. I do the Young Turks from time to time. And one day I'll get this book done, my guide to the presidential libraries, but we're not there yet.
You always have a home here.
I love being on the edge.
Wherever we are. He is at Michael Shure on Twitter, Shure, at Michael Shure. And if you want to reach him, you can always reach us here at the show, and we'll forward on your communication. Michael Shure, everybody!
Oh, thanks. And thank you all for being here, really, each one of you. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Now J. Elvis Weinstein joins. He, of course, is a comedian, the original voice of Servo on Mystery Science Theater 3000. He's directed 2 documentary films, one of which you can stream right now. It's called I Need You to Kill. It's about a stand-up comedy tour going through Asia. And we're welcoming in Tom Arnold. And J. Elvis knows Tom Arnold from the days as a stand-up in Minnesota. So there's that. Tom, of course, is an actor, producer, comedian, writer. And we will ask him about being on the hunt for Mark Burnett and the tapes of Donald Trump on The Apprentice.
This is The Edge with Mark Thompson.
Welcome, Tom Arnold.
Hey.
Great to see you, Tom Arnold.
Great to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
What an honor.
Yeah, I'm a
It's
big
I
fan
love you.
for
You
many
know that.
years, I
It's
know.
good to be here in Brentwood, allegedly.
We're high.
Jesus.
I know, it's a long way.
Yeah,
It's a
it
little
is a
Lord of
long
the
way.
Rings getting up here. You're
It
right.
is. It's Brentwood, technically, I guess.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, we're glad you're here. You've got a movie. I mean, when we set
do.
this up, I just wanted you to come through.
I do have a movie.
Now you have a film, too.
Yes, I have to. It's called Dead Ant, and it's actually pretty good. It's very, it's fun, and it's got some sci-fi elements, and it's about, I play this manager of this band, this 80s hair band, and they had one hit, this power ballad, and I say, we need to come back. We're going to go down to Coachella. You're going to play there, but let's stop it. It's actually Nochella. I tell them, by the way, there's no way they could get it.
They couldn't
Coachella.
use the word, yeah.
We stopped to get some peyote down at Joshua Tree, and it's not, government is not shut down at the time. It's open, and they get this drug for inspiration, peyote. I don't know if you've ever taken it. I haven't.
It's a total hallucinogen,
I
right?
don't take. I've taken hallucinogenics 3 times, and 3 times I ended up in jail. 3 of the many times. Being in jail on acid is bad.
Now, how did you... Well, stop. Just give me one of the times. Tell me
Well,
one
I
of the
was
stories.
in Iowa City. I took acid with my friends. I was trying to power drink Jack Daniels you always take acid. You're like, what? Oh boy, this is not, I better power drink Jack Daniels to even that out. And then my friends were like, let's take another hit of acid. Maybe that will help. And then I was like, wait a minute, did we take that other hit? I don't think we did. Let's take another hit. Anyway, I ended up in
That's funny.
in jail, and then it
No, wait a
really
minute.
kicked in.
But you were arrested for what?
Well, for let me think. The first time that I was arrested on acid, we were arrested. Well, I was arrested naked. That was the first time that we took acid and we said, let's streak. And this is a terrible story because I lost my job at the meatpacking plant. This is a true story. This is why I'm a comedian. This is why I have a life. I worked at the Hormel meatpacking plant for 3 years out of high school. And everybody worked at the meatpacking plant or they worked at John Deere.
Is meatpacking a euphemism for like a slaughterhouse?
Yeah, I worked at the kill floor of
Wow,
the meatpacking
that's
plants.
so
Yeah,
intense, dude.
it is. And, I'm Jewish, and I worked at a pork processing plant. And my grandpa had worked there 50 years. And that's what he did in Thelma, Iowa. And, but I didn't want to go to college, so I was saving money working there so I could maybe go to the University of Iowa, maybe get on that stage at the open mic thing and tell some jokes. That was my dream. But I started to work at nights and then go to community college during the day. And my friends were all away at real college, and they had a community college party one night. And I wanted to get the college experience, so I called in sick to Hormel. And me and my buddies, we said, let's take some acid and go to this college party. And the party ended like about 6:30 at night because it's a community college party. And everybody in this community college, by the way, and this is no joke, they're like 60, they're like, now I'm almost 60. They're like 60 years old because it's a community college because they've already raised their kids.
Right.
And now they're like,
doubling
I
back.
want to become a a horticulturist or I want to knit something. I'm going to community college. So that's the people of this party. Party's over at 6:30. I'm like, this sucks. We need to have some action, like college action. We're going to go streaking. So we go down to the diner in Ottumwa, and we run through there, me and Mike and Mo, who I'm still friends to this day, and we run through. There's nobody there. The guy in the back doesn't even come out. So you're naked, 3 fat guys. Doesn't count. And I said, well, I'll tell you where there will be people at Jefferson Square Manor, the old folks' home, because there's always people there. So we go naked through Jefferson Square Manor because at least the nurses are there. And then on the way out, what happened was somebody did see us at the first place, and they called the cops, and so they're waiting. And so we come out of Jefferson Square Manor, and the cops are waiting, and this is documented. It's public record. And so this is December of 1980 or whatever it was, and we come running out of there, and they're waiting to arrest us. And my buddy Mike and Mo jump in the back of the car to put our underwear on, and there's 3 fat guys rubbing asses, and the cops are like, I'm like, wait a minute, we're gonna get arrested, so I'm gonna step out of the car and put my freaking underwear on like a gentleman, and the cop handcuffs me behind my back, and he's like, I'm taking you, and he's so happy because the cops freaking hated me. It's a small town, and so I'm like, dude, are you not? You're not even getting me my underwear or a towel, and people are driving by. Oh my! It's a small town. They're like, hey, Arnie, what? Like. And it is, people make the cold jokes, but it is December. And I'm thinking this is the worst. And they make you stand out there on the street. And Mike and Mo got enough. They at least got their shirts on their heads. So when they took them back in, they couldn't really identify them. This is the truth. So anyway, I go to jail on acid, naked, and my dad is like the nicest guy in town. He's the nicest dude. He was well respected, and they have to bring him down with my clothes. And by the way, you go to jail naked, they put you in the freaking drunk tank with you people, and they of course want to fight you. So you got to fight people naked, which is always a bad idea. But you've got to, So anyway, but Dad brings the clothes down. He's like, "Hey, Sheriff Irwin said you and Mike and Mo ran naked through Jefferson Square Manor, and Tommy, I know you've done some crazy things, but that is despicable. That's despicable behavior, son. And I just didn't think you were capable of something. That's degenerate behavior, son. I didn't think you were capable of that." I said, "Dad, first of all, Sheriff Bud Irwin is a fucking liar, okay? How about that? He's full of shit, Dad. I would not do that. I know I've let you down in many ways, but I am not a degenerate, so I would not do that." And he goes, "Well, I didn't think you would, Tommy. I didn't think you'd. I wouldn't, Dad. Give me my goddamn underwear so I can put them on. No way I'd run naked through. Anyway, we never talked about it his whole life, but I did. If you do,
He put it to bed after that. You never talked about it with your.
We never talked about that. Yeah. We never talked about the fact that my sister was the biggest methamphetamine dealer in America. And then every time she came over for a holiday, me and my 6 other brothers and sisters got up off the table and went into the garage with her and her purse. And did not come back. We never discussed that. But let me just say this. If you do call in sick at Hormel and you do get arrested at the old folks' home for public nudity, it will be in the paper of your small town, and the guy at Hormel will read it, and you will get fucking fired. I will tell you that. That's what happened. I got fired.
But that was
we don't allow this sort of behavior on our kill floor.
Well, I always said you get 3 strikes a union because we had a good union, and you get 1 strike if you take a piece of meat and you fucking throw it in a dude's head, you get caught or you red bone Judy March. There's a lot of fun. Let me tell you something. Kill floor is depressing. Because you fucking slaughter 6,000 animals a day.
Horrible.
You take, you do. There's a lot of death, and you got to make your own fun because these guys. If you do that many,
just like a Holocaust guard, you got to.
Right, it's a lot like that, and so you make your own fun, and but you got to get you got to strike for that. You put a bloody thing up Judy March's ass there. Her husband wants to fight you afterwards. Her husband always wanted to fight me. By the way, let me tell you this about the women that worked at Hormel. You were not allowed. There wasn't just the respect for women. They were the only people that actually worked all the time there. They had because they didn't to do horseplay.
Right.
So they moved up faster because they went to work. They were idiots. Like men, they were always screwing around. The women were so good. They were good with their knives. They kept their knives sharp. They were technicians. They had the best jobs. The guys are there just fucking around all the time.
But there's no good job there, is there, or is there? Do people want to get off the kill floor?
Well,
you get off the kill floor to what? You can't really get to anything.
Well, the sticker is the best job because that's where that's the quick. That's you have that's where you just it's a real quick where you just really quick action with the best knife, real quick, and
in the neck of the animal.
Bam,
Yeah.
one quick. It's just so 6,000 times a day you do this.
That's just awful.
That's it though. Yeah. That's your whole movement.
But you're saying that's less.
Pulling leaf lard is the worst. That's why you have to pull fat from the inside of the ribs because it pulls your fingernails back. My fingernails are still messed up. Squeezing chitlins it sounds disgusting because you're squeezing the shit out of the inside of their. That chitlins, if you eat it.
It's wild.
Chiseling heads is fun because that's where you take actual chisels and you chisel this meat, temple meat, which is actually good meat. But,
But boy, to have had that in your history, and I mean, really, your journey is amazing. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yes. So you guys knew each other, you and J. Elvis Weinstein, when you were comics.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, Tom.
He's a very nice guy. Very funny guy.
In Minnesota?
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I first met Tom.
Yes.
Yeah. But he was sort of on his ascent out of there as I was starting, sort of. But
he was coming back from Hollywood, kind of coming back home when you first met him.
That first Roseanne special was what, like 87-ish?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so I started January of 87. I met that year.
I played her husband in the first special.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I was in jail right before the night before that special shot. I was down in Rochester, Minnesota, doing a show, and I was at McDonald's. And here's the thing: Roseanne. I told her I quit drinking. She was my friend, and I said I quit drinking. And I was at Rochester, Minnesota, doing a stand-up show, and I was drinking. And I got to fight with somebody in the audience, and I threw a drink at them. We got a fight, and then the end of the show, I stopped by McDonald's on the way back and got kicked out of McDonald's. I don't even want to get into the situation, but the person called the police, and I was urinating by the car because they wouldn't let me use it. I just want to say they wouldn't let me use. Okay. And the cop said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm making a cocktail. Do you want one?" And then I got a fight with the police outside McDonald's. I ended up in the psych, the psych part of the jail in Rochester, and this was Saturday night, and they were keeping me 30 days. I had to be in Los Angeles to film Roseanne's special on Monday. And I'm like, she will, first, I'm done. She'll be so mad at me because I said, I quit drinking. We partied together a lot, but I was like, I am done drinking and whatever else. But now I'm in here at the psych ward for 30 days. There's no way. So I called Ron Meshmesher. Remember Ron Meshmesher?
I do. I knew his daughter.
And they wrote about it. He died just last year, but they wrote about it in the Twin Cities paper, this very story. At the end of the year, they had some stories. This story's true. So I'm like, who can get Ron Meshmesher is a great lawyer.
He was the
he's the fix-it lawyer, the Michael Cohen.
He was the fixer of the Twin Cities.
He was who Marty Singer is to me now. He was and he was the nicest guy, and he loved comedy. I'm like, who the hell could get me out of jail? And I have one call. I call Ron Meshmesher, and he gets a judge off a golf course on Sunday afternoon, and they opened the door, and the cops were so mad, and I flew in there to do the Roseanne special to play her husband. I never got a bill from him. He was not thrilled with me, but that Ron Meshmesher, I owe my whole career to him. Because she would have had none.
I'm sure he was dropping your name for the subsequent 30 years.
Listen, I stayed at his place. He let me crash at his place, and we were buddies.
On Westmoreland Lane.
Yes.
Yeah,
I saw his girlfriend naked many times because our rooms were like, and he had that club, and it'd be late night, and she'd try to be discreet, and eventually she'd see me and she'd go, just change her clothes. She's super smoking hot. Anyway.
When you came out, so you were out here in 87 or 88, then after that Roseanne special.
We come out back. I moved here officially in January of 88 to the Roseanne show was starting.
Right.
For the pilot.
Yeah.
Right. I came here with my fiance from Minnesota, from White Bear Lake.
Oh wow.
Denise, yes. Super. We came out here to write on my friend's show.
And it did, that was the hottest show on television at that time?
Well, it wasn't on yet.
Okay.
We're coming out for the pilot. did the pilot. I did audience warm up for the pilot. Then there was a writer's strike.
Right.
And then so hung out. My fiance and I did not work out.
Right. Well, I mean, it's tough. Look, to be fair.
No, it's funny. My fiance did Roseanne. Roseanne came back to do my going away shows with me. And I guess Roseanne asked my fiance what I was like in bed. And I remember Roseanne's hair was like the Bride of Frankenstein. Like my fiance had done a really bad job on her hair. Later on, I figured out why. Because I didn't know that Roseanne liked me.
So she was deliberately screwing with her hair.
Apparently.
What you
yeah,
think.
I know. That's what she said later. Later, after we worked our way through all this, you can never tell if a woman likes me anyway. I guess if they're really mean to you, they like you a lot. No, but things worked out. It was fine.
Yeah. But you know what show you did that I loved?
Yes,
the Jackie Thomas
Thomas
show.
That show.
And I just like the idea of a main character who was kind of an a-hole.
Yes, it was based
egotistical,
on me.
I mean,
and written by guys who knew Tom real well.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
I was really sorry to see that show go.
That show is it was obviously based on me, but it was based on me. He was a little dumber than me. He was a little dumber than me, but it was fun because I think it's fun to make fun of myself.
I actually got a joke, a couple of jokes on that show because you farmed a script out to Bill Bauer. And the only jokes they kept were the ones I gave him.
Well, the great thing about that show is my friend Bill Bauer, guy said, I got to get him a script. And I will say this about me. I was pretty good about getting people.
He was very good about he held the door open for a lot of friends.
How great was this experience with Bill Bauer? I get him a script, and there's necrophilia in it. There's stuff you cannot put.
I think you'll like this necrophilia.
Yeah.
I really think we can get a pop.
So the guys have to completely page one rewrite it. And so we do a show about my buddy while Bill writing a script. And the real Bill, when he saw it, said this about his script, which was there's two jokes there from him, nothing from Bill Bauer. In the script, Bill goes, my script was pretty good. I mean, that's who Bill Bauer was.
Exactly.
God damn it. Anybody else, I'll tell you what, the thing about the Roseanne, and I did hire a lot of writers, most of the writers on Roseanne. I did, and writers are like this. With their jokes mean so much to them. And I get they're so sensitive about every beat, every line. They're like, oh boy. Yeah, they just, and Roseanne, she did this funny. I gotta say, she was so funny. She goes, that's not funny. She say right to guys and just kill them. But Bill Bauer, he was, you could get him down.
You could not get him down. He was impervious to both reality and criticism.
Exactly.
But you were married to Roseanne for...
Yes, I was. Yes, I was, Mark.
Was it 5 or 6 years? Or
it was about 5 years.
I wouldn't have necessarily, on some level, put you guys together, but it seemed like a really cool pairing at the time, outside looking in.
Yeah. From the moment we met, we clicked. She thought I was funny. I knew she was funny. We were very good friends. We were pals, or something that clicked with us, and she, she's like, she just said, "Hey, I believe in you. I'm turning this over." Whether it be being a stepfather and be, and what people saw out there. In our bubble at the house, we had a family. And, before we got married, I dealt with a lot of stuff, and she stood by me. And after we got married, there was a lot of stuff she was dealing with. And I think she knew this guy, he doesn't know everything, but this guy will have my back, and he will keep his eye on my kids. Because, he doesn't know everything the right way, but this fucking dude he'll have my back and maybe up while I get my shit together, and he'll keep his eye on these kids, I'll tell you that. So, I was young. I'd never been a parent. The kids were older, but, I was and I never run a show. And I said, I'm going to have to figure this shit out. But right now, you're going to take her fucking word for it, because this is her show, guys. So there's no more of this bullshit. And,
There was a great thing about it, too.
Yeah.
I opened for you guys at the gallery one time, and, sort of at the height of it all. And it was clear that you guys were a fucking team.
Yeah.
And it was definitely us against the world.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun to watch.
Right. And I got to say, I just love to make her laugh, the two of us. And I can make her laugh by just mocking her, because we get going and she'd be talking, she'd get all raging about somebody. And I just start, mocking her and do it, whether it be with the rest of the family or, oh, you're gonna, and she could laugh at herself and, oh, you really, that's what you're gonna do? Nobody else can do this. And she would be laughing on the floor so hard. And then she'd have these plans and she'd go, she a lot of times would be like, what I really want to do with this is, and we'd all sit and listen to it for a while, and then I'd just start, is that really what you're going to do? Then you're going to do this, and you're going to, because I think other people around her, before she would feed into her, you're so really, really, you're going to do this, and then you're going to.
Right, but you're exactly right. The higher up you go, you're just surrounded by yes people.
Yeah. But, it's also, there was a lot of, because she did have the mental illness, the multiple personality stuff, and that did get so confusing, and it definitely played into the things with me, but being an alcoholic and I never would have gone to rehab or dealt with all that without knowing that there's something worth fighting for. It wasn't myself; it was her and that relationship and the kids, and so and she stood tall for me, and so.
Yeah, it was a real partnership. I mean, that's what partnerships are. You were at that time. My favorite, I told Jay Elvis this off there. I proclaimed you the best talk show guest of the 90s, certainly. Mm-hmm. And I think you're in there as like all time. And here's the reason. You're so honest. Mm-hmm. You come on like, you used to have like nuclear energy. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just you come on and you got this great energy. But you're so honest and you're kind of unabashed. And that is so lost, I think, in the media culture. So when I'm watching TV, here's this guy on it. He'll talk about anything.
Right.
And you told a story on, I think it was Tonight Show. And I'm curious whether the story is true. That's why I'm asking it. You took $1 million in cash from your safe that you had with Roseanne. You put it in a shoebox, and you went into Beverly Hills to a jewelry store there, and they didn't think, the salesperson, that you were a guy who had any money because you were dressed and everything, but you ultimately ended up buying jewelry for Roseanne with $1 million cash. Is that story true?
Yes. Well, one thing we did, that because there's earthquakes out here, I think when you go from nobody to a lot of money, and then you figure out how do we, you get a certain amount of money each week in cash, and then you have, and so I said, well, I'm going to organize the one safe with money in case there's an earthquake, and then I have to get
right. You can't get to the bank if there's an earthquake type thing,
right? And I was always organized. What happens, guys? We have a big earthquake, and then when they did have the earthquake, it was just me and I think one of the kids at home, and anyway, so. There was a lot of money in the safe. There was, and Roseanne would do this thing like she didn't like, all of a sudden she'd be like, oh, I want a big, I want that piece of jewelry in this magazine. There'd be only like one, and it would be at France at Chanel. But I go track it down. So it'd be everything was in a panic because there'd be something with kids, and I'd do the show. And so I went down there. So, and it's also, you want to be a surprise. And she goes, I want you to do it yourself. So that means I'm not my assistant, not depending on a business manager. And so I did. I went into the safe, and there was what I would say was. I would guess
close to $1 million.
Yes,
right?
Yes. In a giant. I said it was a shoebox, but it was bigger than that. It was one of those cases that you could put. Yeah, and I did. The smart move to me was to just. I thought, well, I'll just take it down to Harry Weinstein.
Oh, Harry Weinstein.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'll just bring it in there with me, then I will have it. It's certainly they accept cash,
right.
And that's what I did because that makes sense. They have the money. I'm going there, and that's what I did. I brought it in there.
Yeah, like you go to 7-Eleven.
I opened it up. I said, I think I know how much in there. I had the numbers from the last time I put money in it.
But didn't he say to you initially, like, "Hey, sir," like he kind of treated it like, "Hey, sir, these are things you probably can't, you may be out of your price range."
Well, he
kind of diminished you a little
bit. Let me tell you something. I had come from we had this giant. I had like a stupid tank top on my shorts, which is a horrible thing to do. Right. And no, it wasn't Harry. It wasn't the guy. The kid working there did not recognize you. Some guy from Cameroon. and I hadn't been there that long, and he didn't recognize me. And he's like, "Whoa!" Well, first of all, he didn't know it was a box. I think he thought it was a fucking head or something. And he's like, "Whoa!" Whoa. So, and then he was like, he did like he didn't. First of all, he wouldn't show me the stuff on top of the thing. And then I go like this, okay. And then I start opening the box. He ducks. He thought I was a homeless guy, because I did look like a homeless guy in his defense. And then the boss he comes out and goes, "Mr. Arnold, everything's fine." And then even Harry Winston was like, when I showed the box, I go, "Yeah, look," to him. He's like shocked that there's $1 million in a box. He's like, "Okay, well." Because people don't, I mean, I was like, yeah, he doesn't realize who I am. And I show the box, like, that makes it okay.
No, exactly. He didn't think you had the dough.
Yes, and it was in the paper. So he's like, "Yeah, are you here by yourself?" I go, "Yeah, I just drove." He goes, "These guys are walking you to your car." Then he has his guys. All of a sudden, because there's those guys, the security guys. And then they put it in another thing. He goes, "This is a bad idea if you're walking around there with this." I go, "No, I think I'm okay." He goes, "No, that's a really bad idea." But his guy, I forgot about that. His guy would show me, go, "Yeah, can I see this?" He goes, "No." The guy would, I go, "Yeah, that. She has that. She still has those beautiful jewels."
There you go. Right. Well,
but listen, it was a time crunch. And what is better, then it makes perfect sense. Because I know she brought up again on Howard Stern that she never got the money back, but she has the jewelry. That's a true story.
Oh, I didn't know she brought it. So you remember that.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
That's the toughest thing about these relationships is then.
Is it really the toughest thing?
Well, let me tell you.
Is it the toughest thing?
It seems like it's one of the toughest things, Tom. I'm asking.
What about the stab wounds, Mark? What about that?
Those might be worse. You're right.
Yes.
No, but you have to hear about it and read about it. It seems like it's a.
No,
like,
that's not a problem. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't?
It's not the toughest thing.
Okay.
I watched a thing on, what is that network the other day? I was sitting home and this thing popped up and it was Roseanne and Tom, whatever, they had a special on this network.
Oh, that just does showbiz doc.
Yes,
thing.
but I'll tell you what, it wasn't bad.
Really?
I sat back. It was a Saturday, and it popped up on my computer, and I watched piece by piece of it that was pretty accurate.
Oh, that's good.
First of all, I don't get mad or anything. And they had stuff I didn't remember. And there wasn't a ton of stuff
that's not that rare a thing.
Well, that's true, but there wasn't a ton of offensive stuff that I'm like, that is an outrage. And they didn't,
they weren't belittling you.
Well, no, it wasn't chronologically intentionally different, and there was kind of sweetness, and they did get something right that I'd gotten wrong. And they were talking about our divorce thing, and I said this is how it was, and they said, well, here's how it was, and I actually went in the files because I'm cleaning out the house. I'm going through stuff, and I looked at the actual document because I'd always said, she said, I got $50 million in divorce. I said, I got nothing. And this person said, well, I think there was a $5 million thing. And I said, well, I got no alimony and zero, and because there was no prenup, and I could have got 50. And I said, I took nothing. You could, to public record. And this other one came out and said, actually, I think it was a $5 million one time. And I was like, that's bullshit. And then I pulled out my file. That woman was right. There was a $5 million. Like, wait a minute, that's absolutely true. So I've been lying. But
Roseanne's to be fair to you, when you could.
Well, yeah, I could have. I wish I would have.
Then $5 million seems like nothing.
Yeah.
All right.
But your brain, you get stuck on something. $5 million doesn't seem like nothing.
Yeah.
But and they were pretty. And I also looked at us. It's always in a different way, and that was so long ago that and then people are coming at you. That couple that we were. There's I was in my 20s. I was 23 when I met her, and that kid, that guy, and that woman, they were pretty
different guy.
Yeah, different guy, different woman. I didn't do so bad, and she didn't do so bad. There's a lot of shit coming at us, and for the stories from. We spent a lot of time in Minneapolis.
You and Jay Elvis.
There was a long trail of Tom Arnold road stories that was built into the scene.
Where I come from and where she came from, and
that's a story.
Not too bad.
Right. And then I feel like Hollywood embraced you after. I mean, I understand that some are going to vilify you, some are going to, but I feel like you became this lovable figure.
Well, I think the thing is that the one thing they got wrong there, like he never retained the level of stardom that he had with her. Well,
you did like 100 movies.
Yeah, you have to. But that's not stardom when I'm with her. Right. That's a thing.
Oh.
And after that, I did everything after her. Every movie, everything I've done has been after. And I wanted to be an actor, and that's why I did after her. And all my sitcoms and all my specials and my sports show and my life. My life has happened after that. So what happened there was what I did with her. And then, so there's no level, maybe fame, maybe it's super famous in a minute. But by the way, all these 30 years later, everybody fucking knows who I am. These people, these Trump guys, they're like, hey, your 15 minutes are up. These trolls, they fucking know who I am. These NRA people fucking threaten my life. They know who I am. All these fucking people. So, but this is what I want. I want to be right here, right now. I'm a father with a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I got this little movie out now, and I do stand-up. I had a special out last week, and I want to do more things. But that was a crazy time. And that really, she was a super famous woman. And I liked where I was. I was happy to get out of there. It was the right amount of time. But
right, and you said it right. I mean, you've changed so much since then. It's almost like looking at a different person when you look back.
Well, we
at
both
that.
have. She's changed too.
Right.
Of course you change. And but it was
But it wasn't. But in her case, it wasn't necessarily growth. It was change. And in your case, it's been growth. It's been perceivable growth from both and out.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to watch.
But it seemed like it was the times were different, and it was what was people are like, we're sad they're not together. Oh my God! But you know what? You do your best for as long as you can, and that's what you do. And
I want to talk about the Trump thing for a second because you were on The Apprentice. You were on not on Celebrity Apprentice.
I turned it down every time. I couldn't figure out what could possibly be good.
Like, where's
for
the
me.
win? Yeah.
Right.
Now they offer you money. They offer you this amount of money, and then they juice it up. It's something I shared with Patrick Keefe. I shared all my emails from Mark Burnett. He had all of them.
Patrick Keefe is the guy who wrote the piece for the New Yorker, which I recommend. In fact, you know what? I may put a click through to it because it's such a great read.
He's an investigative journalist, and he talked to a lot of people off the record. But you'll see kind of what he did with Trump, and you'll see Mark Burnett's sort of distance. And what Trump really is, and then what Mark Burnett did, and Mark Burnett is very tight with Trump now. And I met Trump 30 years ago. Did a special with Roseanne at his place, and he ended up in the special. And we always liked, Greg, the people at Planet Hollywood. We liked Trump, and coming to the things, and it was funny. And at one time, people said I was having an affair with Marla Maples in the tabloids, and when he so I knew him peripherally. He came on my sports show. A lot, and in fact, when I look back at that, now I look at it. The first time he came on, he sat down and goes, "Hey Tom, what's that?" And there's 4 15-year-old girls in the front row with short, schoolgirl suits, and then I say, "Hey, which one of these guys, the athletes, would do best on The Apprentice?" He said, "Well, John Sally, because he's black, and he has every advantage in the world." So things have changed, and I did go to the Playboy Mansion with him because I felt like he's here. He's in town. He did my show, and I have to own a lot of this too because he made me feel good. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that support him because he's never called you a fat ass.
Right.
He never said, I hate you. He never called you the N-word. He's never, fucked you over on money. And that's why this, Harvey Weinstein got away with it so long.
Right. He's always been good to me.
Yeah, I don't want to call out Donald Trump because I put my dick in a hot dog bun when I was in college. So for the grace of God, there go I. So that's a problem with men. That's why men really can't be in control for a while. So, but I went to Playboy Mansion with him, and I used to say, but I wasn't the creepy guy. But I was the creepy guy because I knew he was going to visit his girlfriend, even though I knew he was married. I wasn't the creepiest of the two of us, but so I have to own that too. And he would say, I'm on the show, excuse me, I'm here because of Tom Arnold, out of respect for Tom Arnold. He'd say that on the air, and that made me feel good, okay? So, but I never was close to him. I would not get his phone number or hang out. I just don't, I'm not a hangout guy. But when he started the birther stuff, they constantly asked me, and he'd call my house and ask me to be on the show and do it. And I'd say, okay, I'll see you in New York. And my wife would be like, why did you say that? I go, say what? I'll see you in New York. I did it. Have my agent call. But the birther stuff was a problem. And then I go show the correspondence. I call Mark Burnett. What are you going to do? He can't say that. That's racist. And then I started having a problem with Mark Burnett. And because the star of their show, I mean, that's full-on racism. I'm from a small town in Iowa, small farming community. I did not have a mother. And if you're different at all growing up in a farming community, and Barack Obama, this is going to seem crazy, but his grandfather looks exactly like my grandfather. So I always felt a kinship with Barack Obama. His grandpa was from Kansas, a farming community. Wow. So I knew that when he was back there, I knew, and there's this mini doc that Davis Goog and I made about Barack Obama in 2008, and he talks about being on his grandpa's shoulders when they saw a rocket come back from space, and how cool that was, to see that, and it was very touching. And I thought, yeah, I bet his grandpa had to defend him, like my grandpa had to defend me, because people were shitty because I didn't have a mom, and he's black, and everybody else is white in his family, so that grandpa had to defend him. And I've always felt a bond
connected
with that.
to him.
Yeah.
Why didn't you have a mother?
And because she abandoned our family in our town. But think about this. So that guy. So now the guy, he becomes president of the United States. You know how fucking proud that grandpa is. His fucking little boy. He's the fucking president. And now this fucking idiot comes forward and goes, "Whoa, no, excuse me, done. He's not the president." And so these fucking rednecks,
birther stuff.
Yeah, rednecks in Iowa, where I'm from, and the other ones in Kansas, like, yeah, you're right, he's not. Change the rules. We're going to take that away. Because no matter what you think about Barack Obama, he's a fucking unbelievable, great American success story. And that's why that's bullshit. No, my mom.
Isn't it? That is bizarre.
That's outrageous.
That he would question the legitimacy of Barack Obama when it comes to presidency because he's not born in this country, blah, 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 all that crap. Then the legitimacy of his presidency is very much in question.
Well, they project. People like that project. But
yeah.
why did everybody stand up and go, whoa, everybody, Mark Burnett, immediately NBC, immediately the RNC, immediately everybody go, what the fuck? That is bullshit. We had one African American. Why did we stand up for fucking African Americans right there? Why did we stand up for fucking everybody?
Well, because he's never questioned my birthplace before.
Yeah.
Right. That he had to produce that document is loathsome.
That is fucking loathsome. But he is still starring in this goddamn show on TV.
Right.
That is fucking outrageous.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And your mom?
My mom. I have a picture because of, I'm spending so much time with my kids now that my wife moved out, which I love it. My dad was 22. I was 4. My sister was 3. My brother was 1. My mom was a crazy person. They married very young. Obviously, she was 16. She was alcoholic. She's like me. They went to court for us kids. My dad's parents were paid for both back then. Mother always won. And the day they were going to put me on the stand, basically to say, who do you love more? My dad said, I can't do that. And the next day she came to his office with the keys to the house and said, they're yours. And that was an amazing thing. I'm grateful she did that. And then she took off and she lived in our town, small town, and she was married 7 times. And I saw her once in a while, and, but I was very grateful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you say you saw her once in a while, was it just happenstance to see her, or were there arrangements?
I'd go on, pretty early on. I went looking for her. Hikes and traffic, and because you go out and
you're trying to close that connection somehow. I guess is that what you mean, or?
Well, yeah, you go out
or keep it open.
Where's my mom? But, I can remember one specific time of getting out and looking where I thought she might be on the other side of town, and looking a house, but it had to cross the highway and pretty small. I remember being honked at and being brought back, and then I just like fuck it, because you also tell when people don't want to be with you when you're a kid.
Yeah.
When they're
still, it's heartbreaking, but
but
boy, it did really somehow in your constitution it worked out. I mean,
well, you're very I had two wonderful grandmas, and my dad.
Well, I also, just again from an outsider perspective, I look at you and go, the sort of superpower that you have is you can't fucking hurt me.
Right, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
That's a great point. I never thought of it in those terms, but you're right.
And I don't want to say that you're shame free, because I don't think that anyone is.
No.
But anything that other people would couldn't handle taking on, you're there for.
Right,
and
exactly.
I have a great admiration of that.
I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, especially when you think about, when we're all kids, things happen when you're kids that are devastating, especially when you're kids. They're amplified, and then, the stuff happens when you're adults. It's, we survive our childhoods. We power through it. People try to. We stand tall. The stuff that people try to do as kids,
Right.
Plus, I had a little sister and brother. You had to, be there for them.
And what's the relationship with? Are they still in touch with you now, or what's going on?
Well, yeah, my sister, she's doing well. She went to prison for 20 years.
That was the one who dealt meth or whatever?
Yeah, but she was 14, and she actually ended up going with my mom, which is a bad move. My mom took her. She started dating this guy, this 20-something, and she's 14, and she'd done so well at school, and he was a biker. And she took him down to. My mom took her to Missouri to get married, and I got a hold of my dad. We tried to stop it, and she ended up, that guy was abusive to her on her wedding night even, and he ended up dying in a fire in his own bed, mysteriously. He was, and she ended up, I don't want to let her off lightly. She was the brains of the operation of the biggest methamphetamine thing in America. Her husband was a captain of the Grim Reaper motorcycle gang, but he died in Fort Leavenworth. She got out. The next guy was a biker. It's in Fort Leavenworth. And as she got out, now she was another biker. I hope she's not dealing. I'll tell you how serious it is. Ron Meshfesher, the first time she got busted, she had a huge farm, a huge underground lab. My seventh stepfather was the chief of police in our town. He fucking hated me. He loved my sister. He was working for my sister.
Why did he hate you?
I don't know. I hated him too.
Okay,
I fucking hated him and all these fucking other cops.
Because he was a cop. And he was Tom Arnold.
Redneck. He's a redneck. But he had held all his buddies worked for my sister.
Wow.
And they worked at her farm. And
oh my God.
Like not just protection, just like literally did labor for her for her meth operation.
No, they worked
just protection.
They protected.
Okay.
But they made a lot of money, and so the feds. My sister actually was driving away from the farm, and just here comes the feds and battering rams. Just wow. She's like, she calls in town. Okay, get ready. And man, they came in because they couldn't tell the local fucking cops because helicopters. It was a big deal.
Holy shit!
So they, the first time I felt sorry for her because she'd been this hard life, and I got Ron to help her and all these big lawyers. And went and testified and got her a great prison, fucking Martha Stewart prison. Martha Stewart in West Virginia.
That was you? Because of you?
And man, I went there. I'll tell you what. You go to a women's prison like that to talk, and they dig you. And these 95% of the women were there because they'd done something. Their boyfriend said, "Hey, hold this, hold this, hold this," and I got your back, okay? And then they never turn on their boyfriend either. Even though they're they're there because they're boyfriends,
right.
And the boyfriends leave them while they're in there, and that's and that's what the kind of life that they're. So
the ride or die.
They're sort of passively complicit to all this shit.
Yes, and little Mama was her roommate. And I don't know why my sister, but it was a beautiful prison campus. And I could just come and go. And then I got her a job at Hormel when she got out. And Hormel is the best place to work in Ottumwa. And she was working. Everything's going good. The DA guys are my buddies now, and we became friends. And there's a great tape of my sister. There's 3 agents. They're filming it. And my sister sits there. They're doing this huge drug deal. This is before she got busted the first time. And they're like, Lori, we're surprised you're not nervous to make a deal this big by yourself. She goes, why would I be nervous? And she put her gun on the table like that. And the guys look at each other because that's 10 years right there. Wow. And so that's why I had a real hard time. They wanted to give her life for the Rico statue because her farm, and she had airplanes, and she had all this. She had these fucking racing horses she had were so jacked up. They were winning all these races in Kansas. Fucking, then I ended up got 175 of these racing horses. Because the government's like, there's no way they confiscate everything except they won't take those because they're so drugged up. So I had to detox them at my farm to try to make them into walkers.
With methed up horses?
Oh, my God.
Are you serious?
It was just, it was hard. I tried to make them into Tennessee walkers.
You took custody of 175 horses?
I did. It's just the food and the love. I did yoga classes, no. But just to get them calmed down, eventually figured out homes for them, but they were fucked up. And because you don't want to just kill them. I'm
a little concerned that you also owned a loose meat sandwich.
Yeah, the greatest loose meat sandwich. But anyway, she comes out here comes out. She's working at Hormel. I get a call from my brother, the supervisor. He goes, "Hey, she's not working at Hormel anymore." I'm like, "Okay," and she's drinking. I'm like, "Okay." Oh, then I get a call from the sheriff and the DEA guy. Yeah, she's dealing again. He goes, if she quits by this weekend, we won't bust her. So I call everybody in my family photo, Saturday. I'm coming in. Everybody lines up with my dad. Take a family photo. We're all there. And as we're walking out, and I have the photo, I go, Lori, I talked to the DA guy and the sheriff. They know you're dealing. You stop right fucking now. They won't bust you. Otherwise, you go back to prison Monday. She goes, mind your own fucking business, and walked away. And
wow.
I didn't talk to her for 4 years. Wow. But that's how fucking harsh that drug is. Wow. And the ego and the bullshit. But when I did talk to her, I took my camera crew from the Best Ed Sports Show. It was a hilarious bit. It was hilarious because that prison was something else, man. That was a real prison. They had the acrylic TV. You could see through it, and it was a real prison.
And you went back there with Best Dam?
Yes, I did. It was very, very fun.
Oh, now, how was that fun if you go to this grim prison?
Oh, we make it fun. We made everything fun. We did everything fun at Best Dam. Oh my God! John Kruk was passing through my hometown, and my old baseball coach had died, and they took it to the viewing. Oh my God! Kruk was freaked out. Oh my God!
It was you, John Kruk, John Sally, and Chris.
Michael Irvin, Chris Rose.
Chris Rose, Michael Irvin.
What a bunch of great dudes. The funniest, it was the best.
I was envious. I was envious.
I never had an event. First of all, nobody knew what they were doing, so we could do whatever we wanted. It was so fun. I was
a guest on the show once. We played against, little people or something.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
Basketball?
Yeah, of course he did. I got to box women, like full on. You was a box, but they were boxers. Yeah. Like they wanted to kill me. Like they were trying to be. It wasn't like, we're gonna fake it. Like they were killing me.
No, they're trying to prove a point.
They were
trying to have laughs.
Me.
Right.
There was no. And the thing I always tell people about, like Ashton Kutcher came on. He was you throw passes, you catch passes with Michael Irvin. I'm like, dude, just know this. That we don't on this show. He's going to do it for real. So if you outmaneuver him once, he's going to knock you on your ass. And that's what he did. Like he pushed Michael Irvin out of the way, and I could see Michael Irvin's eyes go, "Let's do this one more time." And Ashton's not a small guy, and he knocked Ashton down so hard on the cement because it's Michael Irvin.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's on TV.
Sure.
He's going to win the next one. Because these athletes have a magic that you go, oh, and that's the thing with Trump. He'd always pretend like, oh, I'm the same size as these guys. I'd be like, they'll kill you. They'll kill me. They'll kill you. Don't even kid yourself for a second. These fucking guys will kill us. So don't think you can wrestle them. That's why he's up on stage now saying, I want a body slam. I want to, even though he's in the WWE Hall of Fame, he's a pussy. That's why I said I'd wrestle him. That's why Secret Service came to my house. But because these athletes, they have a magic. Let me tell you something, Mark. This is true, Elvis. They have a magic that turns on, and it could be you know, you see hockey guys and you're like, oh, that guy looks like a normal guy. He will beat the fuck out of you right now. And by the way, hockey guys, if you're in a bar, that's who you want to have your back, because they can fight within a 4-inch. Right, they will fight right in here,
and they want to,
and they do. And I've had my best friends are the hockey guys, because they will always have your back. They just like, what's going on? I got it. And they're devious, and they get in there. You can't even if you got a video of the fight, and it's a hockey guy. They're like, I can't see his fists because there's such tight area. Oh yeah, he broke all the small bones of that dude's face. You didn't even see it happen. That's Jeff Cordell. Yes, he did that. So, but let me tell you, I got to wrap my sister's story. So here's the happy ending. So this summer, her son was 7 when she went to prison, and her father went to prison, and myself and members of my family raised him, Josh. And I sent him to a military school down in Mexico, Missouri, and we gave him a lot of love. My grandmother and my dad and my stepmother, who did not like me, but you know what? They stepped up for him. And people supported him, and he eventually went to college. I got him into my college, and he did well. He's a giant kid. You know, his dad, he comes from big people. Let me tell you, these fucking this Stockdale big biker people. You know, who they were not a fan of me, if you can imagine, but he's a good boy. Biggie, big, giant, big person. I can still kick his ass. He's got some rage issues, but you know what? He's a good boy. He marries this gal, Jewish gal, from Sacramento. She has a lovely family. They come out. He's worked 4 jobs to pay for this wedding. I take Jax, my son, back. I said, son, I want to show you something. I want to show you your cousin here. He's never done drugs in his life. His dad died in prison. His mom's been in prison twice. So everybody's there. It's a beautiful wedding. And I get up and toast him. And I toast how proud I am of him for what he's done. And then I look out there. I see my sister and her new boyfriend. And I say, listen, nobody, I know you're proud of your son, and it's awesome. Nobody gets near him. Everybody stay the fuck away from this kid for the rest of his. This is his family, him and his wife. Respect him, but stay away from them. Basically threatening my sister, her husband. Yeah, you know what? Everybody, I don't know.
There are not a lot of threats issued in wedding toasts.
Well, no, you know what I mean?
Get an eyeful now.
Hey, this is their stuff. Right. Don't even get close to them. I don't want any trouble. If you got troubles, keep it over there. Keep it away from these guys.
You're saying, look, this kid survived all of this.
Yeah, what I'm saying is stay the fuck away from. I really say, because first of all, the in-laws, these Jewish, we're talking about versus shot. They had no idea the whole story. They were these nice people. And first of all, I didn't want, because I could see some of these other assholes getting close over here. Like, oh my God, look at these two. I said, hey, stay the fuck away from. These are nice people. You got to be direct with these people sometimes. I just want to be clear that they get you fuck with them, you're fucking with me, and I will fucking burn you fucking people down. Anyway, I was gonna do it real nice.
Mazel tov.
No, but you get. I was gonna say it nice and sweet, but there's no nice and sweet. There's some members of my family that are straight up criminals, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna get in here and get my. And you know, this kid is still
big.
vulnerable.
We could use him. Yeah.
Well, but what his name? By the way, his nickname is Biggie. And he's best friends with the only 4 black guys there are from Atomo, and he's Biggie. And he's got a shaved head. And they still have, here's Atomo, they still have Jerry girls. I'm not kidding, his friends. Because when Atomo was like, way back.
Sure.
But, oh my God, and his 4 best men cried. And their wives were like, what the fuck? He goes, they never cried at our wedding. That's the kind of, there's these big boys, these big dirty boys. I know, it's so fun. But he's a sweet boy.
So you've had a great relationship with him.
I had a good relationship. I guess I did. He's a sweet boy. He's innocent. And let's keep it that way. Yeah. God damn it. You know who he wanted to meet of all the people I worked with? He thought this was the sexiest? Monique from Soul Plane.
Oh, wow.
That was his
That's so cool.
Yes. He's like, can I meet? Is there any chance I can meet Monique? I swear on my life. I swear.
That's great.
Yes.
Oh, that's really great.
I swear to God.
And is he staying there? Is he living there?
Yes, he is. Okay. He's working at Sports Authority.
Okay.
He stayed there. And I said, Monique will fucking kill you. I just saw her beat up Kevin Hart. That's what the day she beat up Kevin Hart. But, that would be, is there any chance I could? But that's what
He does sound sweet. That is.
He is very sweet.
Yeah.
He's very sweet. That's why I tell those people, you stay, they're nice boys.
Did the Secret Service really come talk
Yes,
to you?
they did.
You just mentioned that a moment ago.
I
remember.
I released part of it.
I forgot about
David Cord.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did because I did that.
What did you say?
Well,
or
first
do?
of all, Trump is
he's
such
vindictive.
a pussy. Yeah, he's like, I will wrestle. He loved that the one of the little journalists got body slammed by that idiot congressman. And he's like, oh, I like a guy with a good body slam. He's marched around the stage. And again, he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. You got to be able to fucking wrestle. I was like, I will come to your next event and we'll have a body slam off. Hey, listen, and if he body slams me first, that's justice, whatever. And then I get a call. It was the day before they caught the MAGA bomber. So they're in the hysteria. And by the way, I've had 1,000 death threats minimum. Like legitimate, like we are going to, I've had people show up, they've damaged my stuff. This is not,
So you're saying this BS threat, which you were kind of a showbiz threat, like I'll challenge you to a...
No, it's a real challenge.
Slam.
I'd fight him in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah, well,
he
he's
needs to be
not
punched
going to,
in the fucking nose, yeah.
But they don't step to your real death threats, you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
I don't care about my real death threats. First of all, if you go against Trump, here's what's going to happen. They're going to threaten your life, they're going to threaten your money to sue you, and they're going to threaten your credibility. Who gives a fuck about credibility? And they just plow past him. All I've got is I want him to resign, which he will by this summer, and then it'll be done. He will resign. Then Pence will have to quit, and then probably Nancy Pelosi will be president. He's a menace.
Why would Pence have to quit?
Because he's involved with
he's complicit.
Yeah, but Donald Trump is a danger to the United States. He is un-American. He is incompetent, and he is on their side, whatever side that is. He doesn't believe. He's a menace. Okay.
You saw was it at the G20 that he talked to Putin without a U.S. translator?
He is against the United States.
There's no U.S. translator there.
No,
he's
against our military. He doesn't take our military. He's fucked.
So,
he's an idiot.
Yeah,
he's a fucking idiot. He's dangerous. Un-American.
You were tracking down for a while the Burnett. The hope was that there were tapes.
What were we talking about? What did we almost talk about? Oh, the Trump, fighting Trump, the Secret Service. So anyway,
sorry
how
about
this
that.
goes.
Yeah, sorry.
So I also said once in a while I love to, because there's a whole world going on, a Tom Arnold world that I'm not aware of, and sometimes I'm like I get on there and I, because I do have the ability to, I do have people that are smarter than me that are good on the internet, so I can kind of watch these conversations taking place, and I'm like, do they know I can hear them? because of the show on Vice, people that are talented and that are in the gaming and hacking business have helped me out, and so I get to see what's going on, and it's fun, and the stuff that he said. A lot of these are bots, what they call bots, and they're programmed. They're pretty interesting.
How can you tell it's a bot? Can you?
Yeah.
What's the giveaway on it?
There's a bot, or there is a program to tell you about. You have I have a board, and it shows which are bots. It shows it.
Oh, there's some electronic signature or something that indicates it's a bot. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you have
so they're like hate bots. They're just hitting you. Hate.
Yeah, but they got so much better with it when they first started. They're just quite. It used to be it was specific words,
right?
But now now we can tell where they came from. Where they originated. A lot of it comes from one specific location. And,
is it domestic or is it foreign?
Foreign.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's some domestic, but foreign usually, and then you'll see from one, and they're sort of on a rotating because I'd like to think that there's a person that comes in like at Time Life Books. And I'd like to be the person typing, and then the next person comes in and just works it.
Next shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, there's a very specific, the bots, the photos, and there's that.
Wow.
We're just and then they sort of change, but there is a.
So it's not just,
there's a digital footprint. I'm going to say this. There's a digital footprint to them. And I've actually spoken to bots and engaged. The only way to engage a bot, you can engage if you do it digitally. You have to do it through another, and you have to be a computer.
I see.
And we can engage that way to interfere with them. But me thinking I could Tom Arnold talk to a bot is insane. But you could do that.
How often do you get with your team of these guys who are webmasters or whatever, these ninjas who can pick out the bots and tell you where they are? How often do you see them? Do you go do that as a matter of course, or do you do it?
They're remote. They're watching the whole thing because we're doing something with this.
I see.
So they're remote. I can see them on the monitors.
I see.
And stuff, but they. So
this is almost like there's a documentary quality to this. What you're doing.
Well, here's the thing. Where I am now, because the Secret Service and the FBI has been in my home, and the fellow right there, the thing that we're filming with the people involved with the Trump Russia Mueller thing have filmed in my home. That we're filming that guy there that's here with us, and so because I have to take care of my kids, so I have to be at home a lot. So my house is very wired, and I had the Trump show. Which is but it's also things are being filmed not only inside my home, but we were always concerned that it's being filmed outside, so there's constantly we're checking. But I have a pretty there's a lot of stuff going on in my home, but you can also access. You don't have to go places like the old days. So
right, it's remote. You can do everything remotely now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I'll say this: when Roseanne when she was doing her thing, when I realized what her Donald Trump thing.
Oh yeah.
My old stepdaughter said, Mom, there's a guy that she's following, and he's taking her down the rabbit hole, and so I, as a favor, said, let's check this dude out. This Thomas Vicker or somebody I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
And so because I am a dick, I pulled up on this dude, and I was in his house, and
wow,
yeah, because here's the thing. Once I realized how deep she was with these, there's white supremacists, whatever's going on with her, it's black and white. There's no nuance. She is involved with these people.
You're talking about Roseanne, because Roseanne was a Trump supporter, that was at least to advertise.
More than a Trump supporter, yeah.
Yeah. And you're saying she got in deep with these guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys they may be sweet guys, but they're fucking full-on conspiracy guys.
And there seems to be a very pro-Israel angle, too.
Yeah, but it's not if you really think it's crazy. They're trying to start wars.
It's anti-Jew.
It's the rapture.
It's the rapture.
Yeah.
But they also are pretty afraid when you shut the lights off in their house and show up. When you actually see these things.
Wow.
But they're manipulated. They're big talk. They're pussies. And, then they get somebody like Roseanne. It was just not that hard. So for Jenny gave me some information, and because they're also talking about me, so I felt like, and I'm like, well, let's see how this goes. Let's go with this guy. When you really get in on these guys, they're it's kind of like when you take the helmet off of
Darth Vader. Or whatever.
Yeah.
No,
but the message is clear. You got to, and we started picking them off one at a time, and it just wasn't enough. But then I realized, Roseanne actually wants to be the leader of these. It's gone that far. My thing with her is, she got that phone. She doing it. Oh yeah. And one night I was with Jenny. I go, well, where does Roseanne live right now? I'm going to go throw her phone in the fucking river. For real. If I was that's it. That's a simple solution. She said, "I'll
You're,
bet
you're,
you
you're an interventionist, I think.
Yeah, I know that. Oh, I wrote an intervention for her with the whole family. I go, here's the deal. You're afraid she's going to keep tweeting? Done deal. Here's what I want. Who's still talking to her? I made a whole thing about circling the whole thing. Well, shut the Wi-Fi down. That's done. I sent her a picture of a phone that goes to a different hard drive before it goes up. I got a phone from Vice.
Yeah.
I sent it to the picture. Here's the plan. And then literally, I said, what's her address right now? I'm going over right now. Is that fucking boyfriend not doing anything? But I think I'm going to kick his ass. I'm going to take that phone and just throw it in the river. And then one more day, it'll be fine. Okay? Everybody, look at this. Like, literally going to go over there just to make it through one more day so she's going to get fired, because I said she's going to get fucking fired. Right. Because Jenny was working. First of all, she cut Jenny out of her life. I know this seems insane. Jenny's a daughter.
Okay.
I'm telling you, there's a million solutions. That's one. You aren't powerless. Well, it's a First Amendment right. How about this?
Right.
How about, there was times coming in, she never wanted to go to work on Roseanne. She fought it every day, kicked in the thing, but yet I knew if she didn't go, she would be devastated because she cared that much about that fucking show, because that was her show. So no matter what, I was going to get her there. No matter how much fucking bullshit I'd have to put up with, I knew it was my job to get her there because she cared that much. She was going through some kind of struggle, but she knew that I was tough enough to get her fucking ass down there, because that show meant everything to her. Because at the end of this, I wasn't going to be sitting there and go, yeah, you didn't want to go. She'd be like, what? Yeah, you fucked it up. I'd be like going, yeah, you fucking kicked me in the face, and I fucking threw you in the trunk, and I got your fucking ass down there. Yeah. Thank God. Because that show meant everything to you, because that was your show. Yeah, we got you there. I put you, and calmed you down. You kicked the fucking stereo out of my car, my new fucking Bentley, which now fucking Ben is driving, the bodyguard.
Oh, that's right, the bodyguard. I forgot all about that. Jesus.
But it does. I'm not talking about, violence. I would do violence to a phone. That's for goddamn sure. But this thing is, ABC was so stupid. They're like, yeah, she has freedom of speech to do her tweets, and what kind of fucking kid gloves bullshit is that?
Yeah, you're saying if you knew that somebody was that volatile and they had these tendencies, you would have said no, or you would.
If I had a fucking $1 billion show on the line. What the fuck is going on? You get to kick down her Twitter feed, take her countdown, have a fucking one person that cares to just bam every time she does, bam, grab it down.
Right.
Yeah, Jake, her son, was doing that.
It wasn't just a let's give her some rope situation.
No, she can do her fucking bullshit. How about freedom of speech? She was dying to get canceled. She couldn't fucking wait. She couldn't fucking wait to blow it up. I knew the weekend before, I actually said, this is it, this last weekend, because Tuesday the writers come back for season 2. She's already told the fans it's going to be more about Trump. So she's bullshitting the MAGA fans. She's like, I'm taking the show over completely. She has so much pressure on her now. She's going to blow it up this weekend. There's no doubt about it.
Right. So
it has to blow up. I know it, 100%. And you know what else sucked? My special started airing that I worked so hard on, and I had to go on TV. People are like, there he is, going on TV talking about Roseanne. No, that interview was supposed to be about my fucking stand-up special. Right. Anyway, all right, guys.
This has been fun.
God damn it, Mark.
This has been great.
What the fuck?
I love it, Tom. Hey, Tom, we didn't really get to the one incident, but it's really recounted well in the New Yorker piece, and I'll kind of leave it, again, that click-through for people to read the New Yorker piece. But one of the things that's great is you spoke in a very unvarnished way about Mark Burnett, and you got this thing back and forth about Mark Burnett, and then you ran into Mark Burnett. And then his wife made up this crap about how she was bruised, and I say crap because it didn't make any sense that she'd have a bruise like that after this encounter. All witnesses said that he came after you. Burnett came after you with this thing.
Okay, I'm going to tell you calmly what happened.
And then I'll release you.
Mark. Here's what happened. Mark Burnett is a phony. He's a fraud. He takes on the personality of whoever he's with. That's a thing I've learned about Mark Burnett.
Others have said that, people around him.
Yes. Mark Burnett moved here in 1982. He's on his way to Central America. He was been a UK Special Forces guy. He got a military job in Central America. He's on his way there to kill people of color. That's the truth. And he stopped at the border. This is his own biography. He said, I don't want to do that. It's too dangerous. He got a job as a manny for rich people.
That's right. He was a nanny. That's right.
A manny.
Sorry, sorry,
and rich people in Malibu. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, mate, if I could make it, they hired me with they hired a guy, a UK Special Forces guy, to look out for the kid. You fucking right, they did. You got to. Who wouldn't do that? So he's like, I got the same opportunity as a 80-year-old Mexican woman. They hired me. They could have hired her. Well, you're a UK fucking Special Forces guy. Hey, take care of my 3-year-old kid.
You have special skills.
Yeah, you have special skills, asshole. Anyway, so he does that. He gets paid under the table. He forges his immigration papers. He overstays his visa. He marries a woman for 1 year. Oh, well, green card. Anyway, then he goes through a series of things. He tries to do a show with Putin, who he loves. Then he meets Donald Trump afterwards, does his show, sells America on this thing. He's aware that Donald Trump is, and he says it, the worst human being he's ever met in his life. But
plus a failed businessman. He made him seem like he was a successful businessman, but he's actually failed.
Oh, he completely failed. Sells that, covers up for all of Donald Trump's sexual harassment on his set. He has to pull him out 4 times. He sexually harasses all of Mark Burnett's employees, and he has to pull him out 4 times. He's aware he's a racist, but so is Mark Burnett. That's fine. That's how Mark Burnett hires people, too, if you look at his practices. Anyway, they make a lot of money together. Mark Burnett flies to Syria 3 times in 2017, representing Donald Trump in his, and really Putin, too. The deal to pull out of Syria. Why is Mark Burnett flying to Syria talking to Bashar about what he's pulling out of Syria? That's weird. He makes a deal with the King of Jordan to do a show. He now wants to recreate Trumps all around the world. That's weird. Okay, so I do my show, and I want the outtakes of The Apprentice, which I've seen. I have friends that work on The Apprentice. I had the clip producer of the Best of Sports show. Brother is executive producer of The Apprentice.
So there's stuff out there.
Oh, my God, of course there is. Yeah. And now I know where it is, and there's thousands of hours. Because especially once the tape went digital, 2005, the way the chips are in those cameras, they don't stop rolling ever. And in that article, the MGM lawyer admitted they filmed Trump from the moment he got out of the car until he got back in it because of the lawsuit. They had to film him the whole time. So it's all saved. And because of the technology, the LTO technology, they have all that. And I know exactly where they have it stored. In 3 places, because MGM has every piece of footage, movie, television, in the same place. In a vault in Hutchinson, Kansas, salt mine, as well as here in Santa Monica, and one other place. They admitted that, and no one has ever seen it. But they admitted, they said, we won't show it because we want to protect Mark Burnett, but we will see it. And they also said another person, an editor who worked there 6 years out of the 14, he's never seen the N-word. Okay, he hasn't. Fine. That's one thing. But there's a lot of stuff on there because he had business meetings all day, too. It's the full day. It's 14 hours. It's everything that happened. 18 cameras, in, out, every phone call, every conversation. The tape never stopped rolling, ever. Every time Ivanka came down there, he had business meetings between every take. I have a tape in Trump Tower, 2012, during the Apprentice week. I think it might be finals week. And there's a business meeting that happens. And I will tell you this, Ivanka walks in his office and says the same thing every meeting. He puts the same papers down at his desk. And he says the same thing back to her. And I'll send you that. And when I got the tape, a guy got it to me. The people, you can't put that on my TV show because they're like, oh my God, we can't put that on a TV show. The people at Viceland are friends with Mark Burnett. When I did the Mark Burnett episode, you could tell it's a crew that a fake people that are protesting. I did it intentionally. I went down to the MGM on where his office is on Rodeo, and we protested. Now, I did say things I wanted to say in the window, show us the stuff, because I had real women that signed documents saying they had heard him say the N-word. They worked for Mark Burnett. On the record, they said it. They heard it 7 times, and also that they were sexually harassed. And these women, I tell you, you look in their eyes, and Mark Burnett should at least acknowledge This happened. These women worked for Mark Burnett and Donald Trump. You see their eyes? That's the women. That's why I'm doing this show. They deserve to be acknowledged. And there's a lot of women on this trail of these different things that have been sexually harassed by Donald Trump. But Mark Burnett not even acknowledging them, fuck Mark Burnett. So I go down there. I get a letter on the Friday before my show starts airing. Mark Burnett's threatening to shut me down. Vice calls me. Well, just don't say that he was involved in the inauguration. That's a weird thing. Deborah Messing also gets that same letter. I tell her, oh, fuck Mark Burnett. He's, her agent gets one too at Gersh. I say, fuck that. Anyway, I go to that party. I'm not going to any parties, by the way. Viceland, they're done with me. They don't want to. I'm too embarrassing. The thing about going after Trump and Mark Burnett is that Mark Burnett has a lot of shows. He's the most powerful guy out here. They don't want to, poke the bear, they say. We don't want to. We have other shows that want to win Emmys. Don't go to any Emmy parties. I'm not invited to any, and I get a call from Brian Fogel, who won the best Oscar documentary this last year for Icarus. He's a friend of mine. And Sunday afternoon, he says, hey, I'm at the gym. Are you going to the party tonight? I go, what party? The Katzenberg party, Motion Picture Home, night before the Emmys party. I go, oh, shit, I didn't know it was tonight. No, I'm not. I'm Ron Herman buying all the XX vintage T-shirts. And he's like, hey, I'll come by. You can be my date. I was like, okay. And my self-esteem is so low because everybody hates me. I don't know if anybody's going to watch my show. I take so much shit. So he picks me up. We go there. We're the last people to get there. I look. We can start to walk up these stairs. And at the top of the stairs is Mark Burnett. What are the odds? And he's standing there. And he's like, got his chest out. He's in a block. To get into the party, you have to get to the top of these stairs in this tent. He's standing there with a couple of his buddies, chest out. And I realize, he's going to block the stairs, so I can't get into the party. Like, what the fuck? The most powerful guy in show business. And Brian Fogel has no idea who Mark Burnett is. And so I start walking up the stairs like, holy shit, what? This is so goddamn grade school. And so...
It's also bizarre, just as an aside.
It is so bizarre.
That this moment is happening is bizarre.
Anyway, so bizarre. So anyway, I start walking up, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to... Then I'm like, I'm not going to engage. And I start to walk around him, and he, this guy, and he's really puffing his chest out. I can see he's hammered. He's, and he's like this. You can see him pointing down. This Tom Arnold. That's Tom Arnold, mate. I don't know if I think he's with a couple of the Bear Girls guys, and turns out Jeff Probst is up there. It's like, that's Tom Arnold, mate. And I see him, and I'm like, fuck him. So I start to walk this way, and just as I do it, he fucking latches right here, like on the throat, like hard windpipe, and it knocks me backwards. It's dark because I'm not quite to the top stairs. I lose my balance. I grab his. There's a loop on his belt to fucking catch my balance. I'm like, you motherfucker, you better let me catch my balance so we can fight fair. And as soon as he does this, somebody yells, Mark, you're choking him, fuck, you're choking him. And they kind of start pulling him off me. And they pull him off, that pulls me up even. So I get to the top stairs, then I get a little air between us. Then I'm able to fucking unleash on him. He's got a pink shirt open and pink leather fucking... Olivia Newton-John pink lady fucking jacket on and a gold Jesus chain. I'm all over that gold Jesus chain. Fucking grabbing, throwing that off. And I see in his eyes, he's like, what the fuck did I just do? And I'm fucking, you Trump, suck up, motherfucking fake Christian bastard. And they pull away, take him back downstairs and go, don't let that fucker leave. That fucker attacked me. That fucking asshole. And so they take me back over here. And a lot of people just saw me be crazy right here.
Right.
And but I don't care. And so they take me over here. They go, Tom, okay, this is a big charity event. We don't want to call the cops. I'm like, okay, I don't either. Get Mark Burnett here right now so we can finish this. Meet him. They're like, we wish we could do that, but this isn't the old days. And so then they go, here's the deal. We'll call the cops. I go, well, then call the cops. I'll meet them the block over. We won't interfere with the party. And they go, okay, here's the deal. We will, but you can't come back in, you or Brian. And Brian goes, what? I can't come in? And Brian runs towards the party. I'm like, and they start running after Brian. I go, oh my God, you're going to tackle Brian Fogel, the guy who won the Oscar this year? I bet that's going to piss Katzenberg off. And they're like, what are we going to do? And then Katzenberg comes right out there. He goes, oh my God, Tom, of course you can come back into the party. Settle down, everybody. First of all, the security guards didn't recognize Katzenberg. They almost tackled him. It was perfect. They go, okay. So he walks me back in. He goes, listen, I think Burnett's in here somewhere. So if you see him, try not to kill him. I go, okay. So me and Brian say we were the last people to leave because we're telling the story over and over. About half hour in, Marty Singer gets hold of me. He goes, God damn it, I just got out of bed. Fucking Roma Downey just tweeted a picture of a fake bruise on her head saying you attacked him. You got to get the cops. I go, okay.
Oh, that's when you call the cops.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
I'm like, that's crazy. I didn't even see Roma Downey. Brian had his phone out. He had his phone out like this. Hey, Mom, I'm at a party. We're not supposed to film here. And he says he thinks she kicked it out of his hand. She was talking to Jenna Fisher about 25 feet away. Jenna Fisher's really nice lady, gal from the office. And they're like, oh, what's going on? Jenna Fisher's head. They're like, oh, Mark is choking Tom Arnold. I'm going to call 911. And then she said Roma just ran. And that's so Roma wasn't even there. You know, Roma now is a lying psychopath.
Yeah.
So we're going to file a lawsuit this week. They're fucking crazy. I mean, how crazy? Why would you do that at risk? Company, and first of all, it's not okay to fucking attack somebody.
No, there's nothing okay about it, but I thought what I got when it
I
first
only have
happened,
one working vocal cord, too. My doctor from UCLA is on the board of that charity. He's like, whoa, what? I had to go to the hospital and have a microscope put down my throat. And that's fucked up.
Yeah.
That could end your career. I got 2 little kids. What the fuck is that? And then everybody's afraid to talk to the cops because it's Mark Burnett.
Right. Well,
what kind of fucking town are we in here? You know,
the thing that struck me is that he
you
was
know
so
what
bothered.
kind of fucking town we're in here.
What's that?
You know exactly what kind of fucking town we're in here now.
Yeah, no shit.
But clearly, you were hitting a nerve. Otherwise, he doesn't lose his shit like that.
Yeah, well, of course I was.
You know what I mean?
Of
But that
course,
was
that's all part of it. Yeah, he's got $600 million too.
Yeah. Right. He should have just.
Yeah,
narcissist hunting is a dangerous sport.
That's the thing, though. He's so full of himself. He's so full of bravado. I could talk to you for days.
That's
you know
good.
that. You've
Thank
been
you, buddy.
great. You've been great, Tom. We love you. You're refreshing, and I'm glad I could bring you 2 kids.
It was
back
great to see
together.
you.
Thank you, buddy. It's good to see you, man.
Tom Arnold.
Thank you.
Love you, Bob. Great visit with Tom Arnold. Hope you enjoyed it. Great stories. I just think Tom Arnold's a lovable personality. Thanks again to Michael Shure, to Tom Arnold, J. Elvis Weinstein, and to you for being here. Until next time, bye-bye.
If you enjoy listening to The Edge, support them by subscribing to The Edge on iTunes, Stitcher, and you can listen through the iHeartRadio app. Get busy listening.